Morning, guys. Just trying something a little different this morning. If it ends up being pretty bad for me, I'll probably stop doing basically just wanted to put out more videos, but I don't have a lot of time in the afternoons to do this sort of thing. So I've been waking up probably around like 6, and I have like 2 hours of free time to do whatever I need to do. So I figured, why not take that time and try to be a little productive with it. I've seen similar YouTubers do this sort of thing, where they do like a day break or a morning show type of deal every morning. I don't think I can do that every morning because I don't have that much to talk about. I'm really not that of a social person, so to speak. But I figured, I don't know, I have a few things that might be somewhat useful for other people to hear if they so desire. So I made a list of, I don't know, there's like 11 things I can talk about here. I'll just pick one random thing here, and I'll try to make it relate to the channel as much as possible, because I know people get a little nitpicky about if they see something that's not the same niche or topic of the channel, they get a little butt hurt. So here we go. How did I learn to weld? Well, I learned to weld. It's quite a long story, actually. So when I first went to college, I actually went to college first at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I was going there originally to pursue a career in computer science, but the main reason I went is because I was going to play football for them. And a few months in, decided I didn't want to do that. And the wrestling team somehow got a hold of me. Oh, that's how it was. I had a buddy in the dorm who was also on the wrestling team, and he kind of convinced me to go try out, and I was probably going with him for like a month or two until I decided I wanted to transfer schools because they didn't have an engineering program. So long story short, I transferred, and I was now moved to University of Wisconsin-Platteville, which has a phenomenal engineering program, so I'm told. But once I moved, I think that was my first year living outside of the dorms, and I pretty much paid for everything of my college, everything I could. There were some times I had to give a little SOS message to my dad, and he'd give me a few $100 here and there for, if I couldn't afford to make rent that time. But, I hated that feeling, like having to go ask him, hey, Dad, can I borrow, like, I'm going to be short rent this month, or I'm not going to be able to make my car payment or something like that. That just made me feel like terrible. Like, that's like what guys are supposed to do, is be able to provide not only for themselves but other people. And so I couldn't even do it for myself. And it's like, come on, man, you can do this. So I started looking for a job, and first I actually got a job at Piggly Wiggly. Yeah, for those of you that don't live in the Midwest or the Wisconsin area, that's a grocery store. Think about it now, it sounds kind of weird, Piggly Wiggly. Piggly Wiggly. Yeah. Morning coffee. Pretty good. I worked at Piggly Wiggly for probably 6 months, making somewhere around $8 an hour. And I figured, it was a nice job. I got to meet a whole bunch of the locals and a lot of old people coming in, because I always worked in the mornings. I'm not like your typical college kid who likes to sleep till noon and party until whenever. But that'll be for another day. Yeah. I met this guy through one of my engineering classes. I won't say his name, I think he watches some of my videos, but yeah, we'll keep his name on a down low for now. But he was working at a Cummins plant as a welder, and that's kind of my door to the fabrication space. So I go to apply at Cummins and I get the job. I get the job, and originally they put me as like some sort of assembler. So at this plant we made, what do we make? We made exhaust parts for on highway and off highway tractors and trucks and stuff. Originally I was, putting like these weird filters into pieces, and I don't know, kind of weird. And then slowly I worked my way up into the weld position. I think I worked there for 2 years, and over the course of 2 years, I was an assembler. I was a fixture go getter type of person. So it was assembly line welding, and they had like hundreds of fixtures, and there was one person's job to go get the fixture for the welders to make sure it was ready for the next job that they were doing. Pretty self-explanatory. So I did that, and then I think it was probably one of the team lead. He kind of just threw me in the weld line one day, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Had no idea what I was doing. Actually, the first part I welded, it was really funny. It was on a like a sidewinder uh, type of deal. So you put the part in this mandrel, and the part expands, and then it rotates so you can weld it. But I was welding this part, and it was one of my first welds I ever did. As it was rotating, I didn't actually know I was cutting the material, because it was probably a thinner 14 or 16 gauge material. And as I was welding, I was cutting. Once I got to the end of the weld, the whole part just fell off onto the floor, and I was like, "Oh God!" So I just cut it right in half. So I really wasn't that good, but definitely a good learning experience there. After I got done with Cummins, I why did I quit Cummins? Oh, I stopped going to Cummins because they wouldn't allow me to make welders pay. So I think I was getting paid $16 an hour to weld at Cummins. However, I didn't pass the weld test. And once you pass this weld test, which is basically they set up a T-joint and you just put a fillet weld in there. Um, and as long as the weld looks good, you pretty much become a welder, and you get welder pay, which is upwards of like $18 or $19 an hour, something like that. I was like, awesome, dude. $18, $19 an hour for working? I was like, yeah, I wanted that. So I go ask them, can I take the weld test? Management. And they said, no. Why not? Because you're a part-time employee. See, I was only working in the summer. And I was working full-time in the summer. When I asked them to work part-time in the school, during school, they told me no, because everyone else had to work full-time. So I kind of get what they're saying, but it's kind of, I didn't like the situation, so I started looking for another job. Now, I had another friend that worked at Cummins. I didn't really know he worked there until like right about I was quitting, and he ended up he was leaving at the same time. But he introduced me to this job through a hiring agency. University of Wisconsin Platteville is a rather smaller school in a very small town, so it's all farmers. There's a huge Amish population there. But he introduced me to this hiring agency and this employer who was a one man job repair shop. He always hired like maybe one, two guys at the most to come in and assist him in this stuff. But it was a full blown fabrication repair shop. So I would say that's where I got like 90% of my fabrication and mechanical skills was there. Even though I went to school to be an electrical engineer, I'd say my mechanical skills far outweigh my electrical skills. As my time working there, I worked on anything from trailer repairs. The owner really tried to push me to do a bunch of electrical stuff just because I was going to school to be an electrical engineer, so I do trailer wiring, all basic, like basic wiring that didn't really have anything to do with electrical engineering. But yeah, I made him this tester to test trailer lights, drew up some schematics for him, and we got that done. But yeah, I'd make repairs on tractors, trailers. I made an entire trailer one time. It was like a tank. It's pretty cool. I wish I had some pictures to show you guys, but I don't. But yeah, that, if you can imagine, by the time I got to this guy, this one-man shop, my welding skills were pretty limited. They just consisted of welding stainless steel sheet, which I didn't know at the time, which is actually pretty difficult to weld. I went to go weld thicker material at this repair shop, so it'd be quarter all the way on up to like 1 inch plate. And man, I failed terribly because, you know, sheet steel, you're always trying to do vertical downs, and this repair shop, you gotta, well, most of it was just like a flat, like horizontal welding. We never had to do anything going uphill. To this day, I still can't do that. Maybe if I had some bigger plates, and yeah, I haven't even tried. But yeah, my skills just exploded from there. This guy, he just knew so much, and he was willing to teach me and pay me a good rate. He was, at the end, he was paying me $20 an hour while I was in college working part-time. And the best part is, he let me choose my hours. It was almost on like a day-to-day basis. So like, hey, can I come in for 4 hours today? He'd be like, oh, sure, I got some work for you, which is really nice. But the turnaround is, there was a few days like, hey, can I come and work? He's like, no, I don't have any work for you. It's like a small shop, because he hired a few guys because I was part-time, so he couldn't count on me to be there every day. So he had to get these other guys involved, so you know, he could run his business. So yeah, that's kind of where I learned how to weld. So if you're someone interested in looking to weld somewhere, don't necessarily have the equipment, the time, or the money to go to school, oh, excuse my stretch, get a job at some place that does some welding. They I mean, who knows what'll happen, right? I didn't have any idea where I'd be at today, and pretty much my entire career involves around me welding something. I'm hired as an engineer now at my current job, but the only reason they hired me is because I could weld. I actually originally applied as a welder with an electrical engineering degree because that was like a for sure thing that I could do, right? And yeah, so that's where that took me. Yeah, don't be afraid to hop into something new that you don't necessarily know that you don't necessarily have the skills for yet. You'll learn. Just like me, I mean, I learn stuff every day, literally every day, and I don't act like I know everything, and I'm always willing to learn. So I feel like that really helped me out in that situation, in that particular situation I was in college. The willingness to learn and be coachable, and being willing to try new things. So anyways, guys, thanks for having this talk with me. If you guys are a welder watching this video, let me know down in the comments, how did you learn how to weld? I know a lot of people growing up started off on a farm with a stick welder. To be honest, I haven't even stick welded before. I tried once, just because I was curious, but never had the need to do it. It's all just MIG, TIG, and a little bit of oxyacetylene. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow, maybe.